A week after Hurricane Milton, and Manatee and Hillsborough County have a lot of necessity. Perhaps your power has been restored and your life has gone back to normal. But for many people in Florida, their lives haven't gone back to normal. According to Manatee County, only 1% of their people don't have power as of today. But for people in mobile home parks like this, that percentage is actually significantly higher. Hillsborough County, where Tampa sits, has given power back to almost everybody, but there are still 16,000 people in that county that are waiting to have their power restored, and that's even after kids have gone back to school. In Charlotte County, we were able to obtain a significant amount of resources for the people in that county that needed help. However, in Bradenton and Hillsborough County, the Tampa Bay area, food distribution points are limited and supplies are almost laughable considering the population of this metropolitan area. We were able to obtain over $15,000 in supplies from the government, which we distributed to areas of poverty, elderly people, and other individuals who couldn't get these supplies themselves. We were basically just delivering the supplies to the communities that needed it the most, focusing predominantly on elderly people, homeless people, and females taking care of children, basically the people most vulnerable in our community. However, while supplies seem to be plentiful in affluent areas, the communities that need these supplies the most had absolutely no food distribution centers nearby available, and the areas that did get these supplies were limited and they ran out very quickly. Take, for example, Palmetto, Florida, where supplies ran out immediately. Ellington, Florida. It really seems like the areas that were more affluent received the most supplies, and the people that were left in these poor inner city communities literally got nothing accessible to them. You can see that just while we were here helping this one person, people saw us from far away and came to ask for help. Basically, we didn't even have to go to the people. When they saw supplies come in, they needed it desperately. Take a look at these people. This lady's limping. She clearly needs help, clearly needs supplies. And well, sadly, in this area, there were none available. We had to go to other areas far away to bring resources here because in this area, there was literally nothing. On top of that, there's the stipulation that the supplies that you receive from within one county cannot be transferred to another county, and this makes things very difficult. For example, Charlotte County, which barely got affected by the hurricane, seemed to have a surplus of supplies, and we were able to help the homeless people there on a large scale. But Bradenton, Florida has been abandoned by the states and the governments. The area that had the most destruction, the most mobile home parks, the most elderly people, the most poverty and need, totally forgotten by the state and the federal governments. Bradenton, Florida needs help. A poor community with more mobile homes than anywhere else in Florida has had the least help, while areas that questionably almost don't need these resources are putting them out there maybe for decoration. And if you're driving by, you may not notice, but a lot of these people's roofs are completely gone. I've noticed in the comments section many people saying that, well, my life is back to normal, so you're assuming that everybody else is the same way, and that is definitely not true. We hit up small mobile home parks in the Bradenton area, and we discovered elderly people that didn't have food from the hurricane, elderly people who haven't had their power restored, and they were so happy to get a hot meal or maybe it's just a packet of ice. We had 2 hurricanes, many people evacuated, and after they evacuated, they came back to no power, no money, destruction on their properties. People had to evacuate for Helene and for Milton. People that left, spent their money evacuating, are coming back now with literally nothing. They don't have enough money even for food. Whatever little savings they had to spend it evacuating, and hotels price gouged the life out of everybody who evacuated. Hotels are the only people that are still allowed to price gouge people. I don't know if you guys know that, but hotel stays $300 a night in the state of Florida. Now, if you don't believe me, look it up. But it was higher during the hurricane evacuation. People that had to evacuate with their last bit of savings, we're finding people in walkers, people that can barely even speak. They're so exhausted and dehydrated. That's the reality right now in Bradenton, Florida. Reality hidden behind the wall of these mobile home parks. While the news gets stories of the rich people on islands losing their second homes. So the people that are telling you that everything's back to normal and restaurants are open again and their lives are back to normal, those are individuals who aren't on the streets, they're not taking care of their community, and they're not looking out for the poor. For the people that had to evacuate these mobile home parks, left with their last little bit of money to save their lives, and now came back to no power, a roof gone, no food, and absolutely zero help in Manatee County, we were able to go all the way into Sarasota County. And in Sarasota County, the Salvation Army, begrudgingly, it didn't seem like they voluntarily wanted to do this, but after talking to them for 20 or 30 minutes and convincing them, they gave us about 10 meals, which we brought to Manatee County. But once again, they stationed the Salvation Army across from the fancy hotels in downtown Sarasota so the few tourists that come here can see the Salvation Army feeding people. Is this the part of Sarasota that really needs these resources right now? Probably not. Maybe this is here for decoration once again. But it took us finessing it out of the Salvation Army because they said, we're just giving like one meal per person. I'm like, dude, look what we're doing here. We got people that need it. And well, they didn't really seem that eager to get it to us, but they did give us about 10 meals. And those 10 meals fed people that really needed it. I had to take that much time out of my life. It took half an hour to drive into Sarasota, half an hour to get the supplies, and then half an hour to drive back to the people that needed it. So this wasn't exactly an easy process. I mean, looking back on it now, it would have been easier just to go to McDonald's and buy 10 McChickens or something. It would have saved me my gas, and it would have saved me an hour and a half, which is equivalent in salary, minimal salary practically, what the food that we got was. In other words, it's so impractical that you might as well not even get these benefits. It's practically non-existent. Okay, you guys, are you hearing me? They put out so little supplies in these areas that they were gone instantly. There isn't enough help for the people. And I hate to have to say this, and I say a lot of things in my channel that are truths. It hurts me to say this, and usually the things I say hurt the audience. Today, I'm the one that's hurt by having to say something. I'm hurting myself by saying it, but it's the truth. That it seems like right now in the state of Florida, these resources are being put in the front of rich, fancy areas so that rich people can think that help is being given, but in reality, it's just a show. It's like if you live in a nice, affluent area, you might see these things. But, oh, there's food right there on the side of the road. They're helping people. Oh, there's increased police presence in your community, in your rich neighborhood. It is a ghost town in the areas that need it the most. The dysfunctional nature of the state and the federal government not getting along is so visible in this situation. And you know who gets to suffer because the politicians can't get along? The elderly, the sick, the infirmed. Doesn't matter what political party, doesn't matter if it's state or federal. It's a complete disaster. But their friends along the beach have everything they need. They got news coverage. They got food on the side of the road for decoration. They got extra police patrols. But then again, nepotism, favoritism. For the rich, everything. For everybody else, nothing. This is the way the state of Florida is, by the way. It's been like this forever. But this disaster has been the most disgusting from the way it's been managed of any disaster I've ever seen. At least during Hurricane Ian, they were trying to convince the public that they were humanitarians, that they cared about their communities. After Hurricane Ian, they mobilized half the world. But they mobilized half the world because at the time, it benefited them to get that promotion. Right now, with the current situation, nobody gives a crap about the people. If they can make a big political stunt out of it, oh, they'll send helicopters out here. But when something like this happens, push it underneath the rug. Sure, when their beach houses in Sanibel and Fort Myers Beach and Naples get destroyed, they have to mobilize the entire planet to help 3 or 4 rich people on the beach. But when Bradenton, Florida, a bunch of old people now, their mobile homes are leaking, nobody gives a crap about those people. What happened to the big circus that they put on for Hurricane Ian? Why aren't they putting on that big circus now? Perhaps now there's nothing in it for them because now it's a bunch of poor people in East Tampa and a bunch of trailer parks in Bradenton. Those people don't have money. Those people don't donate to their causes. So why the crap would they help them? And it isn't just mobile home parks where people are hungry tonight. These are regular neighborhoods, duplexes and single family homes. We found a lot of necessity in neighborhoods like this. Neighborhoods where houses have their roofs destroyed. As you can see, houses have roof damage. And it's not just mobile home parks. We also went into regular communities of single family homes and duplexes. And in these communities, people have necessity as well. And today when I do a video showing necessity, Americans and necessities, I can already see the comments. They're sending money to other countries or they're giving stuff to the illegals and not the U.S. citizens. Look, I went into this neighborhood here. Now, this neighborhood is about half Hispanic, half Americans. The Hispanics and the Americans here live like a family. The Hispanics told us to help the Americans, and the Americans told us to help the Hispanics. They looked out for each other. I met a Spanish gentleman. He pointed us in the direction of an American family, and then that American family pointed us in the direction of a Hispanic family. In other words, race doesn't exist. However, the media would like to portray antagonistic. The American citizen isn't getting anything while the illegals are getting everything. They're helping the illegals while Americans get nothing. Look, the reality in poor America is that the poor American citizen and the Hispanic are next door neighbors. They help each other. They take care of each other. They love each other. But then you turn on the radio. Then you turn on the TV, and all of a sudden they become antagonistic parties. One of the most beautiful things that I have seen during this hurricane in Bradenton, Florida, Black, Asian, Hispanic, white, everybody here helps everybody. Everybody here is family until you turn on the radio, until you turn on the TV, and all of a sudden everybody is antagonistic. Stop repeating everything you hear on CNN. The white people are not all racist. Stop listening to Fox News. The immigrants are not hurting Americans. The immigrants are helping Americans more than other Americans help Americans. If you watch my homeless interviews, when we ask the homeless people who helps you the most, they always say Hispanics and illegals are more generous to the homeless than their own American counterparts. This Hispanic person here pointed us towards an American family. The American family pointed us to a Hispanic family. These people can't even talk the same language a lot of times. But you know what they did? They looked out for each other. They cared for each other, and they made sure that in their community, the race barrier doesn't exist. And that was beautiful to see, because in reality, you turn on the TV and in the comment section, some of you guys that are repeating CNN, repeating Fox News, are going to start with your Ukraine, and you're going to start with your Israel, and you're going to start with your Americans are getting nothing while illegals are getting hotels and food stamps. Look at this right here, guys. This guy's a Spanish dude. He's telling me go help the Americans. We went and helped the Americans, and the Americans told us to go help the Spanish people. It doesn't exist. These racial boundaries don't exist among the poor people in these communities. It doesn't matter what race you are in these communities. Everybody here is family. Then you turn on Fox News. Then you turn on CNN. And then you go into the comment section of my video, the people that repeat everything they hear like sheep without questioning the reality. Perhaps you live in Oklahoma or I don't know where the crap you live, somewhere up there where it's 95% white or something, and you don't understand this. I've lived in Alabama where it's segregated. People don't like each other by race. It ain't like that here in Bradenton, Florida. That's not the way these people are built. These communities here, everybody looks out for each other. Race doesn't exist unless you turn on the TV or the radio. They tell you to hate Venezuelans. Everybody hates Venezuelans. And they tell you to hate Haitians. The same elite rich people who tell you not to like illegal immigrants will have 20 illegal immigrants mow their lawn every week. But if a single homeless American citizen steps foot on that grass, they get arrested for trespassing. It's a double standard. But in these communities, those barriers don't exist. So, turn off the TV and get out there and meet the people in your community. I'm really happy to live here in Bradenton, Florida. What I have seen during this hurricane is people helping people, people looking out for people, and it doesn't matter the whole race barrier that we have in this country. I'm really proud of Bradenton, Florida, and I've lived in Naples during the hurricanes, and it's not even fun to help the people down there, but helping the people here is fun. They're appreciative, they're thankful, they look out for their neighbors, It's a joy to help the people in these communities. Come here to Bradenton, Florida, and help these people in necessity and see the most appreciative people you're ever going to find anywhere. As you guys know, I have a YouTube channel to take care of, and I can't literally dedicate my entire YouTube channel just to helping people. I can only do so much. But you guys can contribute as well. I gave what I could to the community. Now it's your turn to help the community. And if you're thinking about helping somebody in Florida, just drive to these trailer parks in Bradenton, Florida with some hot meals in the evening, some water bottles, and trust me, the people there need it. Just drive by, find people outside. Hey, you guys need water, you guys need food. You wouldn't believe how many people have necessity in our community, people who really deserve the help, and people who are very thankful and appreciative.